Alright guys, so get this. I have been told many times by the internet that there's over 1 billion PC gamers. 1 billion people right now are playing on the PC and they are dedicated gamers, you know. 1 billion gamers choose to play on PC than on a regular home console device. This is what people are saying on the internet. People say this with a straight face like it's an absolute fact. But you know what? It's actually nowhere close to being true. There is not 1 billion PC gamers out there. It's not even close to that. Not even freaking close to that, guys. And I'm gonna show you the evidence that backs this claim up. I'm gonna show you the evidence that just proves that this is all just a myth. There is not 1 billion PC gamers. That's ridiculous. I'm gonna show you guys that it is way less than that, and I'm also gonna show you how there's far more people not just playing on video game consoles, but there's actually far more gamers just playing Nintendo alone than people who are playing on PC gaming. Alright, so to do this, we're gonna look at Steam and we're gonna look at Epic Game Store. These are the two biggest platforms in PC gaming, with Steam being way bigger than Epic Game Store. Like, I think it's like maybe I want to say it's like 10 times bigger, probably even more than that. But yeah, Steam being the far bigger platform, having way more players, way more active users, way more revenue, right? But Epic Game Store is like the second biggest. So they're the only two we really need to focus on, because whatever else is out there is so small and insignificant, it's not even going to matter. All right, so let's just first look at the monthly active users of 2024. So for the Nintendo Switch, out of 140 million people who have bought the Nintendo Switch, 90 million of them were active users. So that's 60% of the player base that was actually active in the year of 2024 for the Nintendo Switch. When we look at both Steam and Epic Game Store combined, you had 120 million people that were active out of the supposed 1.1 billion gamers that are out there, which is only 12% of the player base. So that's a very, very small percentage of people that are active. You know, if there's really 1 billion people, well, then a lot of them must not be playing their PC gaming consoles or playing PC to begin with, if only 12% of them are active. Again, for the Nintendo Switch, you had 60% of the player base that was active, and this was in the year of 2024. Let us now look at the gaming revenue that they made in 2024. Now, I'm not counting the entire revenue that Nintendo made, like on movies, you know, their Universal Studio theme parks. Nope, just the gaming revenue, and that's it. The revenue they made off of video games. So for Nintendo, in the year of 2024, they made over $11 billion in revenue. For Steam, which is the largest PC gaming platform, they made $9 billion. So they made a couple $billion less than what Nintendo made. Then we look at Epic Game Store, and once again, this just shows that Epic Game Store is far smaller than Steam. They made over $1 billion in the year of 2024. So you would think that if Steam and Epic Game Store had far more players than Nintendo and console gaming in general, you would think that if there's over 1 billion PC gamers out there, they would have made way more revenue than Nintendo. Because 1 billion players, that's a huge number right there. Yet they've only made $9 billion, whereas Nintendo made over $11 billion. So Nintendo actually made more than both Steam and Epic Game Store combined. Now let's just look at the highest selling game for each platform. For Nintendo, it is Mario Kart 8. Mario Kart 8 sold 70 million copies. That does not include digital copies or whatever, because according to a lot of people who play on the NSO and whatnot, they're able to check and see, you know, how many people were playing, you know, Mario Kart 8. Apparently there's 77 million people who have purchased and played Mario Kart 8. So 77 million people for Mario Kart 8. For Steam, their highest selling game was PUBG, and that's 40 million. So 40 million people have purchased PUBG for Steam. And then for Epic Game Store, The only thing, they don't really have much data on their games, probably because they don't do that much, but we know that Borderlands 3 sold 5 million. So 45 million total for both Steam and Epic Game Store, and over 70 million for Nintendo. So again, if they had 1 billion players, don't you think that the sales of their video games would be much higher? They should be way higher than that. They should be at least more than 100 million or so, but they're not. PUBG, only 40 million, and that's for Steam. And then for Epic Game Store, it's just Borderlands 3 at 5 million. All right, so let's just focus on Nintendo and what they did in 2024. So $11 billion total, 200 million software sales. So, you know, every single game that was sold in that year, it was about 200 million games sold on the Nintendo Switch. Since each game, all games are like a different price or whatever, you got indie games, you got expensive AAA games, expensive first-party Nintendo games. Let's just go with an average of like $30 per software. That would add up to $6 billion in software sales alone for just the Nintendo Switch in the year of 2024. With the rest of it, of course, being just the sales of the system itself for that year, just in case you guys aren't smart enough to just figure that out. All right, so now let's just shift our focus to Steam, and just Steam only, because they are by far the biggest platform for PC gamers. So in the year 2024, they had $9 billion of revenue across 130 active monthly users. I do think it is way less than that, but I'll get to that later. And of course, with a supposed total of 1.1 billion total players. Again, I think it's way less than that. And the reason is because you take that into account with the fact that they only made $9 billion of revenue in the year of 2024. If you do the math, that's like only $8 to $10 spent per player in that year. So they have 1 billion players, and yet they've only made $9 billion. That's only like $8 spent per player that year. That doesn't really add up now, does it? You would think it'd be way more if they had 1 billion players, because $8 to $10, I mean, how many games do they have that are like cheaper than dirt? I mean, do they have a bunch of games that cost $1 or $2 to get? No, of course not. There's a lot of big AAA games on Steam that are full price. So when you see this basically just debunks the whole fact that they have 1 billion players. It's not even a fact, it's a myth that they have 1 billion players, because otherwise those 1 billion players all spent only about a total of $8 to $10 on a video game. There's just no freaking way. And some people might try to say, well, there's a bunch of free-to-play games. Really, there's not a whole lot of free-to-play games. There's really not that many. There's like a few selection of free-to-play games, but I highly doubt that the vast majority of these, Steam users are only playing those. And here's something very interesting about the $9 billion of revenue that they made in the year of 2024. 58% of it was from microtransactions. And if you do the math, that's $5.22 billion on just microtransactions alone. So then that means that the software sales only makes up $3.78 billion. And so basically their software sales, it's only $3.78 billion. That is an extremely low number for a platform that supposedly has 1 billion gamers on it. So this alone actually debunks the myth of 1 billion PC gamers out there, especially when Steam is their biggest platform. And you just look at these numbers and it's like, okay, they're only making, just in the year of 2024, about more than $3 billion. That's very, very small for a platform that supposedly has over 1 billion players. Especially when you take into consideration the fact that most games are pretty expensive. They're gonna be either $60 or more. And even if they're buying a bunch of indie games instead, those indie games are still gonna be $10 to $20. Okay, so it should still be way more than $3 billion if they had over 1 billion PC gamers. So just to remind you all, Nintendo made $6 billion on software sales alone versus Steam, which made half of that, which is $3 billion. Again, Nintendo Switch only had about 140 million people in the year of 2024, with about 60% of them being active users or monthly active users. Steam supposedly has over a billion players with 130 million monthly active users, and yet they only made $3 billion that year versus Nintendo, who made $6 billion. And again, this is just for the revenue of software games alone. This is not also including the sales of Nintendo Switch systems. So the reported 132 million monthly active users on Steam likely includes a substantial number of inactive or non-engaged accounts. They got a crap ton of accounts that are just inactive, and it could be, could also be, multiple accounts that one person has made. When going back and forth with Steam, people making just multiple accounts, whether they're getting banned for cheating, things of that nature. Speaking of which, they have had over 38 million accounts banned from Steam for cheating. So just imagine 38 million people whose account has been banned, and of course they decided to just create another account and maybe another one after that. I mean, who knows how many of these 38 million, how many accounts have been created? And it's not just, people getting banned for cheating. There's many others out there that's going to make multiple accounts, but 38 million accounts have been banned. So that's very important to keep in mind. So who was it that initially reported that there are over 1 billion PC gamers out there? Where everybody is getting this myth from is actually from Newzoo. Now, Newzoo is basically the global leader in PC and console games data. They are the ones who reported that there are over 1 billion PC gamers out there. So every time you go on YouTube and you hear some, PC gamer throwing that number around saying there are actually 1 billion PC gamers, this is who they got it from. It's Newzoo. But here's the problem. Here is what they are not taking into consideration. Nobody is taking into consideration the fact that the vast majority of gamers that Newzoo is taking into account are not actual gamers to begin with. Whenever they reported that there are 1 billion gamers, PC gamers in the world, they are not just talking about your true dedicated gamer who plays multiple video games, especially, big AAA titles. They are also including the people all around the world who just simply get on a laptop or a computer every now and then and open up some free-to-play browser. Whether it is all of the kids in elementary school, the teenagers in middle and high school who are simply playing some free-to-play video games like that pinball video game. I'm sure you all recognize that one, that, Solitaire, that card game, all of these games that are usually desktop games, or you might open up one of those, you just look for some free arcade video games or whatever, some free to play games on the internet that you could just jump right into. You don't have to create an account, you don't have to pay for anything. You can just get on there and immediately start playing games. You probably have to watch a few ads, and that's about it. These are the people that are being lumped in with the rest of the PC gamers out there. And so because of that, they're counting these guys, these just random normal people, as PC gamers when they're really not. They're just people at work, people in school who are just looking for something to kill time because they're just bored out of their minds. And so they'll just open up their laptop or computer and they'll just start playing some free-to-play video games on there. And so you should not really count these as actual gamers, because the implication is that real gamers choose PC gaming over console gaming, but that's obviously ridiculous. It's just a bunch of casuals and people who don't really care about video games that much that will occasionally just play any free-to-play video game, whether it's a desktop video game or a free browser video game. They'll just play that. That doesn't mean they're an actual gamer, though. And so that is largely where this myth has come from about 1 billion PC gamers out there. There are people who say there are 1 billion gamers on Steam alone. That's ridiculous. The likely number is actually just 60 million players, possibly 100 million. But to be honest, I think 60 million is the more accurate number. I think there's only 60 million players on Steam, and Steam of course being the biggest platform for PC gamers. So just Nintendo's user base alone is way bigger than the entire user base of PC gaming. And if I was to include PlayStation and Xbox, it would be even bigger than all of PC gaming. And finally, the last piece of evidence that there are only 60 million PC gamers out there would be the Steam Deck itself. The failure of the Steam Deck, which only sold a whopping 4 million units. If there were 1 billion PC gamers out there, like serious PC gamers, not only would they have sold way more than 4 million systems, but you would see it available in all major retailers, not just through Valve, not just through the Steam store. So this also just proves that, you know, PC gaming is very small and very insignificant when it comes to video games. So in conclusion, guys, there are only 60 million PC gamers in the world. 400,000 of them are whales. A whale is basically a person who just spends a crap ton of money on microtransactions and probably DLC content as well. These people, you find them not just in PC gaming, you also find them in mobile gaming as well. So they probably make up the majority of the profit that Steam makes, because don't forget, 58% of their revenue comes from microtransactions. And so again, 400,000 gamers are actually whales, and they just spend a crap ton on microtransactions. So yeah, in conclusion, guys, that's all PC gaming really has, is just 60 million players. People really think that there's way more than that, and that's only because these same PC gamers, they're on the internet. They turn the internet into their very own echo chamber, where their narratives pretty much just run rampant. But everything I provided in this video disproves all of that crap, and the fact that the Nintendo Switch 2 was able to outsell the Steam Deck in just 1 month, that just proves that PC gaming is really not that big, and they do not have 1 billion players. Like 99% of those people are just people playing random free-to-play games. That is gonna be it for this video, guys. So I want to hear from all of you. Leave your comments down below. What do you think about all of this? What do you think about all of the facts and evidence that I presented in this video, which pretty much just disproves this myth that there are 1 billion PC gamers out there? Again, there's only about 60 million PC gamers out there, and that's about it. The rest of them are just random people at their job or in school playing free-to-play video games every now and then, and that's about it. That's not really a real gamer. So anyways, that's gonna be it. Hit like, hit subscribe if you hadn't already. Even if you do not like this video, I encourage you to hit the like button anyways and leave as many comments. And I encourage you to subscribe, because here's the thing, all of that engagement is gonna help boost my channel. And that's gonna make it to where even more people are gonna find these videos and watch them. So definitely do that. And with that being said, I will talk to you guys later.